Hi everyone, I hope you enjoy the video. Today, I thought I'd have a little fun with my Nintendo Switch and see what it's like to play all the mainline Pokemon games on it. This is inspired by the idea that, back in the day, and by day I mean 2016 and such, I thought it was super cool how you could play every single mainline Pokemon game on a single 3DS, with Virtual Console bringing over the Game Boy games, the Ambassador program for 3DS letting you play Game Boy Advance games, and with modding, you can just play the Pokemon Game Boy Advance games. And then you can of course just plug in a cartridge and play all the DS and 3DS games. Nowadays, that dream of playing all the Pokemon mainline games on 3DS is no longer alive, of course, since there are Switch games out there now, but with some fun spirit and determination, we can bring back the all-in-one dream on the Switch. How is this possible? Well, the Nintendo Switch has a thriving modding scene, and if you know where to look, you can get Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games, DS games, and even, with some effort, 3DS games running on the Switch. Meaning, you can in theory play every single Pokemon game on here. So, what I've done is backed up all of my Pokemon cartridges to a ROM, which isn't too hard. I just gotta dig them out. Then, after that, I put all the games on Switch, and the result is an ultra decked out, all-in-one Pokemon machine, and let me show you what it can do. Starting off, we have the Game Boy games. This is where I got started back in around 2002 or 3 or so. I was born in 97, so still very young. Pokemon Yellow was one of the first games I ever played, and having it on my Switch is super nice. It runs great, of course. I would joke that even a toaster could emulate a Game Boy, but considering there are smart toasters now, there are probably literal toasters that could play this game, so not much of a joke. But yeah, we can also of course dock the Switch and play Pokemon Yellow on the TV. Back when I was a kid, I used to plug Pokemon Yellow into the Super Game Boy at my grandma's house and play Pokemon on the TV all the time, so this actually had me revisiting some fond childhood memories. Moving on to Johto, Pokemon Crystal works great and is also super fun. This is a game I played a fair bit as a kid, but specifically on a cartridge where the save file battery was dead, so now I can finally live out my dreams of being able to save in this game. Game Boy games aren't going to give the Switch much trouble, and that goes as well for its successor, the Game Boy Advance. Looking at some Game Boy Advance games, Pokemon Emerald looks and runs super great. Pokemon Emerald was the first Pokemon game that I sunk multiple hundreds of hours into. I really was at the right age when this came out to where it was my everything, and it's super fun to have on my Switch now. My mouth was just ajar the whole time playing this game on my Switch because it's just so wonderful. Emerald is so colorful and pleasant to sit around in, and something about being able to play it on my TV filled my heart with joy. The save file I'm playing around in is from when I was doing my super complicated all legendary speedrun, in which I grab, you know, all the legendary Pokemon. So the save file is very, very glitched. I did the cloning glitch so many times in that speedrun. Shoutouts to how easy it is to clone Pokemon in this game. Fire Red also works super great on the Switch. Having all these games on my console is just super cool to me, and I haven't played Fire Red in ages, so it's fun to dive right in. I super enjoy how there's the fun bonus islands in this version of the game, the Sevi Islands. They're super fun to chill and hang out in, especially with the fun Johto music remixes. There still hasn't been a single re-release of the Game Boy Advance Pokemon games on Virtual Console or whatever, and considering how fun this is to have on Switch, I only ask, why Nintendo? Let me play this without having to go full hacker, girl boss, girl mode, and resort to jailbreaking my Switch. Moving on to the DS, simply getting Pokemon here up and running isn't too involved either. While the DS is a much more complicated console to emulate than the Game Boys, the Switch handles it easily, and it's mostly plug and play. I say mostly, as some of the later Pokemon entries have specific lag spots, but it's nothing that can't be solved by a simple overclock, and we'll get into that later. Looking at Pokemon Platinum, the game runs super smooth and doesn't provide any issues. I've got the game set up to only show on one screen at a time because that's the way I like to play it, but there's plenty of display options of course for those who want to have both screens showing up at once, for example. As for the experience of playing Platinum on Switch, it's super cozy, of course, because it's, you know, I've been playing Pearl lately, or a lot of Pearl actually, for my legendary Pokemon speedruns I mentioned, as well as national deck speedruns, and Pearl is better for speedruns, so I never get to appreciate the graphic superior, or basically everything superior version Platinum, so this is super chill. Also working great here is Heart Gold. I love this game. I've played it a lot for speedrun stuff, but that was on the really dim and cheap original launch model Nintendo DS. But on the Switch, all the colors pop and its aesthetic and everything it has going on visually looks super great on the Switch's screen. It's like A++. For this game, I actually remembered to record battle footage so I can show you all how I make these work. Since I prefer the immersive full screen experience, what I do is click a button to switch the screens over during battle, and from there I just tap the attack I want to use, or use the buttons. This save file is also from my legendary Pokemon speedrun, so I have a million legendary Pokemon on here, but trust me, these are the real deal. I didn't use cheats, I promise, only very intense glitches. I also tried out the Poke-Athlon minigame on Switch, and that worked okay as well. Probably not meant to be played on a huge panel like this, and playing through my camera also was rough, but it was still fun, and all in all, Heart Gold feels super nice and wonderful to have on Switch. I'm super pleased with how it plays and glad I tried it. Moving on to Gen 5, we have Pokemon White. This game runs super great on Switch during battles and in most sequences. However, there are more than a handful of spots which will cause the game to lag, starting off even with just the title screen. It doesn't give the best first impression, as when the game lags, the audio goes into the trash and starts sounding demonic, and the audio is just not any amount of good when the frame rate is lower, unfortunately. The culprit of the lag with these games is that the graphics are just too dang fancy for the DS, and basically any big 3D scene like riding the Ferris wheel or the big zoom out section of Castelia City, things like this will cause the game to lag, and an overclock on the Switch can help a little bit with this. You probably wouldn't notice the lag much if the audio just didn't go right into the sync. It's not like unplayable or anything, just a little bit slower than usual. So if you play without sound, you probably can't even notice this nonsense occurring. With all the technical information out of the way, oh my god! Having Pokemon White on my Switch is so nice. It looks just right on the Switch's screen, but also the TV? Like, the TV, oh my gosh. I've seen the Gen 5 games played in TVs before at Pokemon Nationals and stuff. Don't mean to brag, just saying, you know. But yeah, I've never played this game on the TV myself, and oh my gosh. Going through the sites of Unova, the big bridges and towns, they obviously weren't meant to be played in a TV, and some may say they're super blocky and pixely, but I say they're great, and I think this just like owns. This game is super fun to play in the hands, and then dock into the TV and see all blown up. I think it's great. Pokemon Black and White 2 is basically the same story, a little bit of lag in the fancy 3D sections, but otherwise plays super well. These save files I'm playing on are my original first playthrough save files from when I got this game in high school. They unfortunately have the male character chosen because gender happens sometimes. But anyways, I think having this game on my Switch is great. Would recommend. And last, but certainly not least, we have the 3DS. With DS games sometimes struggling to meet the mark, you might think that the Switch is not up to the task of emulating the 3DS, but indeed, it can. The story is actually different for every mainline Pokemon game here, as they all play and work wildly differently. So, to dive into it first, we have Pokemon Y. This game, in my experience, is so much more difficult to emulate than the later entries in the series, and indeed, Pokemon Y, unfortunately, really struggles to reach a full frame rate, meaning the sound often is demonic and distorted. While that may sound bad, I personally didn't mind the slowdown and found that it didn't happen too often and wasn't too distracting to really affect me. Worth noting here is that this is of course with a full overclock, as it's basically required to overclock the Switch to emulate 3DS games, unless you're planning on playing something very simple like Pocket Card Jockey or Pushmo, in which case, yes, please do, these games are great. Once again, I have the game in cinematic, full screen mode usually, because that's how I like it. And for this emulator, there's of course a button command to switch modes for when you gotta look at the touchscreen or choose an attack. As for what the experience is like, it's fun. The lag may be a bit noticeable at times, however that's more than worth it, as the experience of playing Pokemon Y on my Switch was something I really enjoyed. Pokemon Y is a big fave, and the game is something special when docked on a TV. Walking around Lumino City, riding a Skiddo, even just messing around with the roller skates, these all felt like really nice indulgences to get to enjoy on my TV, and I ended up spending a lot more time messing around with this game than I did for prior games. It was just cozy. Looking over at Alpha Sapphire next, and y'all, Alpha Sapphire on Switch is awesome. It looks and runs incredible. The sound in this game is usually pretty normal, and although the game can lag, it doesn't happen as often as Pokemon Y, and there's extra wiggle room in this game on Switch, meaning if you dock it into the TV, you can even play in higher resolutions. Like, really? While X and Y can be tricky to get running at full speeds at all times, and certainly has no wiggle room on Switch to apply emulator enhancements to, Alpha Sapphire is such a breeze to emulate on the Switch that you can upscale the game, and boy howdy, playing this game on a TV with higher resolutions and flying around on Latias, it is a treat. This game is awesome to play both in the hands and on the dock. I loved playing Alpha Sapphire on my Switch, and I only have nice things to say about it. This game is easily the most cooperative of the 3DS bunch to emulate, going around just doing contests, chilling in secret bases, catching Pokemon. There's so much fun stuff to do here, and it feels so nice to have it on my Switch. It's like A+++. One thing I do need to add though, however, is that for all the games here, Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, and even Moon, it's not uncommon for battles to lag, as they're very intense, and that goes double so for double battles. While a regular battle can be pretty cooperative in Alpha Sapphire and Pokemon Moon, usually, double battles on all the 3DS games are basically guaranteed to lag no matter what, which is definitely the case for playing on an actual 3DS, so it's at least authentic, I guess. And here we are, the final Pokemon games that weren't available on Switch until now. Pokemon Moon is here and has made the jump through the power of emulators. As far as the frame rate is concerned, it's a bit in between Alpha Sapphire and Pokemon Y. The game can definitely lag in a lot of places, but I still found it to be fine, and the game looks right at home here. I chose not to upscale the game as it plays super weird when at higher resolutions on Switch, and it didn't seem like it easily had the wiggle room to make that happen. As far as how it plays, it's great. Pokemon Moon is chill, and I haven't revisited it in a while, so it was fun to try it out again. I was really blown away by how pretty areas like the Mally Garden and the Festival Plaza look on the Switch's screen. With all these games I'm trying out, I just end up appreciating all the visuals on the new lights, since they're on such fancy screens compared to before, and that's definitely true here as well. Ultra Moon is predictably a similar story to Moon, except this game has Mantine Surf, which I love a lot. Having this on my Switch feels like a big win. It reminds me of playing the minecart minigame in Club Penguin, if any of y'all remember that. But yeah, that's all there is to say on all the Pokemon games I threw on my Switch. This console of course can play Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Shield, love those games. It truly can play them all. I had a blast going through all of these and love that I have access to all of these games on Switch now, even though at the end of the day, it's probably easier to just dust off my 3DS and play Pokemon there. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what y'all think and if you have any questions. And until next time, bye bye!